just assures us death and taxes. Millwall do not perform well at Ewood Park. How you're doing? Welcome back to Where Lions Walk. We're, of course, back with Mike, who's fresh back from Ewood, having to watch what is a very, very anemic display this weekend. Plus, Millwall being accused of being the softest Millwall side in many, many years. This particular posteress on Twitter said, "We're the softest team in the league, bar none. We need in January to sign some horrible..." Yeah, you get the rest of it. Do you agree? Also coming up this week, we're asking Mike to gift one player from Millwall a gift. What and who is in need of something over this Christmas period? Who are the best away fans we've seen at the Den in the last 12 months? Plus, we're picking our player of 2025. And if Mike has still got energy at the end, we're going to ask him to pick his player for our A to Z of K. How are you all doing? Thank you so much for all your support over this 12-month period, of course, as well, on Where Lions Walk. Growing anything on YouTube is near on impossible these days, but it's been great to see this particular channel grow and grow, and we're growing a lovely little community as well in the comments. We don't always get it right, Mike. We always upset somebody, but overall, most people are in tune with what you've been saying, but let's see if they're going to be in tune with what you've got to say about that performance. Sum that up if you can, please.
I think it was just expected for the most part. I think it was one of those games where I don't think I particularly expected much from it. It was going to be one of those games where we either played like we did against Southampton, we grind a result and we're on top of the world before Christmas, or you almost felt like it could be the complete opposite, where it's just one of those. It's not a happy hunting ground for us. We got turned over there last year, and we just never seemed to do well against them. And I think it's just one of those performances that you just kind of almost got to forget about and move on for the most part. I don't think anyone turned up. It's like we didn't really want to be there. No one particularly sort of stood out and wanted to sort of grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And it's kind of almost much like those games when Aziz was injured, where there's no real creativity, there's no patterns of play, there's no spark in the team. And I don't know, the team just almost has a dejected way of playing when he's not in the team. It's almost like we know we're not going to get a result and no one really seems to particularly turn up. And yeah, whereas when he's in the team, everyone seems to up their level a little bit. But yeah, one of those where you just got to move on. We're in the top 6 at Christmas, something I don't think we've said for a long time. So you just kind of got to take it, and that's a Christmas present as it is.
What about this too soft element? I mean, another one here, I think it's calling you. We'll do that one in a minute. Sorry. Yeah, Sai says, can't blame that on injuries. Blackburn was in the same boat. Too many soppy, who can't do the basics. Yet again, opposition players look fitter and stronger, were second best all over the pitch. Yeah, this idea of, the Millwall type player being missing from this squad. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, but I think that's hard with injuries because we don't really have the core to any team is the spine. Going through centre backs all the way through the pitch, and like with not having a central midfield, I think it's hard to have a backbone that consists of a left back and your right winger. I think when at Blackburn, it's not going to be. You need to get stuck into challenges, and no one really on that pitch and in the team at the moment. It's all quite a young squad. We don't really have a nasty bastard. It's probably the only way to really put it. I think that's something that we should look to add at some point in January. I think it's definitely something that we for the scrappy games, people to sort of do the dirty work and things like that. I think it's definitely needed. I think there's moments in games where. I don't know. I think sensibly committing cynical fouls and putting a strong challenge in early on to sort of make teams be a little bit more fearful, but they seem to be just sort of breaking us down, getting past us, and there's no real consequences. No one seems like we tend to just stick out a leg and hope that's going to stop the counter attack or whatever. Yeah, I would say it's pretty soft team. No one in the team, like for example, apart from the Kramer likes to get stuck in. Danny likes to get stuck in as well. Sturge has been off the boil for a few weeks. Cooper will always, put in his solid 7 out of 10 performance most weeks. But yeah, anything sort of in front of them, no one's there really to track back and bust the gut and put a crunching tackle in or anything like that at the moment. So
yeah, okay. Yeah, Lewis says Alex McNeil's right to question the effort. Some of them couldn't be bothered in the first half, and that isn't acceptable in front of 600 travelling fans for 12:30 kick-off that pay their wages. Yeah, I mean, we haven't questioned the effort of Millwall much this season, but was that a valid criticism on Saturday watching that?
yeah, that's, to be honest, it's kind of how I sort of summarised that beginning bit. I just don't. I think it was one of those games where it finished and there wasn't really even words, and it was just like dejection and anger and frustration because it was like they couldn't. To me, just they couldn't be bothered. No one done any. No one ran the game. No one tried to sort of take the game to Blackburn themselves. Everyone was off the pace. I don't think anyone had a good game at all. And I think even when you're playing badly, you can put yourself about a bit. You chase down those lost causes. You try and sort of inspire the game yourself, and try and pick up the team. And going down a goal in the first, what was it, the 4th minute or something, 3rd minute. That kind of showed the attitude, I think, from the beginning. The Negley sort of goes and helps their player back up who's down on the ground, and their player makes the pass, and then Ballo doesn't chase the runner into the box, and then he's got a free shot on goal. Croken flaps it, puts it straight back in the mixer, and 1-0 down. And I think I'll be surprised if anyone wants to say any different, but for me, that was kind of the moment where I was like, I think this game's done with already. Unless we can somehow, it just had that feel about it. I think if you're not going to get after it in the first 5 minutes, it's tough to turn it around. The Championship isn't an easy league where you can, ride your luck.
Yeah. What about, there is one positive that some fans put forward, to see if you agree with this one. If any positives to be taken, says Oedipus Leonis, I thought Ivanovic and Langstaff linked up very well in the second half. They surely need to start together next game. Crisis mode until January. I'd be surprised if we'll win any of the tests the rest of the month. Really poor performance, yeah. Langstaff and Ivanovic linking up well. Agree?
Ivanovic is a hard one. He's got a lot of grief, and I think deservedly so for the most part for the first couple of months. I think he had a very good pre-season, and I backed him to be top goal scorer towards the end of the season. He looked like, especially with the sort of final 5-6 months of last season, and then sort of how pre-season went, I expected him to be firing all cylinders, and then. But yeah, it was a poor start, but he's really sort of started to sort of find his form a little bit. He's got 5 goals in 7 games or something like that, and he has started to turn it around. But I think he's just been overplayed. He's played pretty much every minute since Coburn's been out, other than the odd where he's been subbed off for Langstaff. Langstaff I really like him, and I think for everyone, he's almost like a puppy. You want him to do well. You want him to score. You want him to get like a couple of goals back to boost confidence. I don't see. I to be honest, he's one player that I don't mind keeping him as a squad player. But if he left in January, I don't think he's good enough for this level. To be honest, I think. But we don't utilize him in the right way either. Like he was always a goal scorer. I think he needed, when he was at was it Notts County beforehand, he needed 3 chances to score. But he would always score, but they would get so many chances. They would do passes through the lines. It really played to his strengths. Whereas he's almost, when he plays with us, he's in that 10 role. He's basically feeding off the scraps. He's doing the closing down, the pressing. His game doesn't suit the way we want to play. And I think if there is the option, obviously we've got too many injuries now, so I can't see it. But if there was an option to free up space, he would be one. But that might just be more myself than the general consensus. But
Okay.
I think we all want him to do well. It's just you can't fault his dedication to the team. Put it that way.
Okay. Moving on from Blackburn, in other news, then we've had some sponsor news, of course, announced recently that the club have terminated its commercial partnership with MyGuava with immediate effect. The club considers this matter to be the highest gravity and has commenced legal proceedings to defend its position. A shout out to Big Paul here, who wins the tweet of the day, which just went, basically MyGuava's injured. I mean, allegedly, Mike, what do you understand to have happened here?
Well, my understanding is they went bust essentially. To be honest, it come out today. It's been I saw more on it today, and I haven't actually done too much reading it up on it before this, unfortunately. Busy day at work, but exactly. My understanding is that they went bust and financial reasons and things like that.
Yeah.
If you heard any different.
No, the same. But my question is more supposedly about this has happened before, hasn't it? Some fans are pointing out with Euro ferries and all kinds of other stuff like that.
There's been a few now.
Who's doing the reconnaissance work on these companies at Millwall?
I think it's one of those sort of. Would you call it like a bit of a wishful gamble? I don't like in terms of what sponsors want to work with Millwall. Obviously, we're not always. If we're ever in the headlines, it's never usually for the right reasons. Although any publicity is good publicity, I suppose, in that sense. And maybe we just try and give it to the highest bidder. Maybe there's just not too many options really that are willing to lay out. We also had the Husky chocolate as well, and there's been a few different ones. I know we got that. We've got it sorted out. There's a new shirt sponsor. I think they sponsor the training kits as well. But I don't know. I think it's an odd one. I think it's something that definitely needs to be looked at. Fool me once, shame on me. And then, you can't be fooled 3 or 4 times in the space of about 6 seasons. And for me, if it's not worth the money, then do it for charity, like we did the other year for prostate cancer.
Absolutely,
that got so much back in, and that got good reporting from it. It got good, good news on us.
Yes, the strange week of Millwall Football Club. There we go. All right, Ipswich to come then. Which should be probably going to be quite a tough game. And Bristol City, now they're up for this because of what happened, of course, at the end of that game at Ashton Gate. I imagine that Jason Knight's going to get a very hot reception when he returns, when he comes to the Den. What's the minimum point expectation on those 2 home games? Do you think is 3 enough, or is it got to be 4 given your position in the league? And of course, both of them will be hunting you down in the playoff place.
If I'm being my head says the way we've performed, I can't see us getting a point, particularly for either option at the moment. But I think if we can manage to scrape a couple of points, not let them gain any points on us from where we're currently at, I think it is just sort of staying afloat until January. I watched we had Steve Gallen interview on the Mill website, and you can see that. Well, you can kind of read between the lines that there's going to be a couple of quick incomings in January at the very beginning, and then reevaluate once some of the injuries come back and where everyone sort of stands towards the end of the season. I think we just basically need to get to January at this point, and I think losing is, you can't lose too many games and expect to be in the playoffs. And I think we're losing footing as it is. I think it's just getting stronger as the months go on. While we started off very well, everyone in that sort of mid-table to lower half just seems to be picking up points at the moment. And the fact that we're sitting in 6th now is, testament to what we've done beforehand. But you don't want to just give 3 points away to the likes of Ipswich and Bristol, because they're going to be hard to claw back. I would personally be happy if we could somehow get a point out of both, to be honest. If we could get one win and a loss, then I suppose that's, it'll even itself out. And obviously 3 points is better than 2. But I think with the way we're playing at the moment, we obviously Aziz is still banned for those 2 games as well. Yeah, if we could just get through without any injuries, I think I'd be happy at the moment. But yeah, I can push for a couple of draws. That would be nice. Okay. We've got the home advantage.
This is our final record of 2025. So again, just thank you so much for all the support you've given us on this particular channel. Very Merry Christmas to all of you. Of course, as well, Mike, we can't finish before we ask you who the player of 2025 should be then. If you look back at January through to now, I mean, you can choose somebody who left if you want, but who should get the calendar year award for the most consistent?
For me, the player of the season so far is Tristan Kramer. I think since he's come into the side, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. It's hard because we've just had so many injuries in the rotation. Even Aziz has been brilliant, but he's been injured. He's had a couple of injuries even this season. Now he's had the red card. He's missing more games. To be honest, do you know what? I would even actually say maybe Cooper. I think Jake Cooper. I think he's so underrated. I think anyone that's ever been alongside him has always got the praise. Japhet Tanganga, Cresswell when he was with us, Dan Ballard when he was with us. It was always like, they're the best. But Jake has always been consistent throughout. And one thing that he's been this year from January to now, he's been available all season. He doesn't always set every game alight, and he's never the man of the match or anything like that. But I think in terms of for the actual calendar year, you can't fault how he sort of looks after himself. He puts himself about. He will put his head on the line for any header challenge in either box. And yeah, he obviously cares a lot for the team, and yeah, I think we would be a lot worse off without him in the team.
Okay. We're spreading some goodwill, of course, as well. We're asking who have been the best away fans you've seen at the Den this season. Answering the comments here, Mike, can you recall which fan base has come down and impressed?
That's quite a tricky one, actually. Let me think back. It's hard because the loudest ones are the ones when they're winning, isn't it? So when you get bad 4-0 against Coventry and 3-0 against Middlesbrough, and everyone raises their sort of voice, then I think the best game down the Den has been the Southampton game, in terms of just overall everything that was going on the pitch, and then it would just had that feel good factor around the ground. So that would probably be the best one for me.
Okay. We're up to letter K in our A to Z of Millwall. So, Mike, again, have you got a good one for this?
Yeah. Easy one. The one and only Barry Kitchener. Millwall's most ever.
Down there, isn't it?
Yeah. There you go. I didn't even see that. Yeah, nearly 600 appearances. Unfortunately, before my time. But yeah, no, absolute legend of the club. You pretty much don't know anything about Millwall unless you've known about him, basically. And I was even looking at some of the stats earlier on. Funny enough, he only ever made 7 sub appearances out of sort of 600. So it shows how available he's been. And he was with us from the youth setup all the way through his career. So yeah, absolute legend.
If you were looking up, or if you were there watching Barry Kitchener play, let us know in the comments, please. Some of your thoughts and some of your memories. Of what sort of player he was. Right, Mike. One last thing to do. Then we're giving you one gift to give out to any player or any fan base or anybody connected to the Championship. Who gets your Seasons of Goodwill gift?
Gavin Ward gets a box full of shit for his letterbox. That's a good one. No, do you know what? I'll do. For me, I will say Tristan, because I think he needs a lot of love before Christmas, because I think there are going to be a lot of people involved for him in January. I think there's a lot of people going to be wanting him. So I'll woo him and get him some, what is he, French? So get him some frog's legs and some croissants and some snails. Whatever he wants to try and get him to stay in January.
Brilliant. Right, I'll give to you, Mike, because I'm going to give you a couple of weeks off now from talking about Millwall. How's that sound? We will catch you again in early 2026. Have a very restful Christmas. Enjoy the festive football. And of course, do drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so already. Thanks very much, Mike. Really good to talk to you. Enjoy the football. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good one.